Earlier on today, of course, I did a total opposite end of the spectrum kind of build, a D-Class all-round tune for on- and off-road racing for the Ford F100. Now we're doing basically the same thing, but on the exact opposite end. It's not quite X-Class, but it's not too far off in the case of this car. It is, of course, the Porsche 959 Prodrive Rally car. This is a beast of a car. There are multiple ways of getting it. You can win it, you can get it in the auction house, etc. So if you've got one of these, you might not use it that much, because to be honest, in its standard form, it's okay. You know, it's not bad, but it feels a little twitchy. It's unremarkable in that kind of classic way. And I know that purists will hate me for saying that a 959 in any form feels unremarkable, but you know what I mean. In Forza, it really takes a lot to stand out. Well, as it happens, this car definitely does stand out, because in my opinion, this might be the single best car in the game for doing all of the off-road accolades. So stuff like off-road speed traps, off-road speed zones, off-road drift zones, launch pad stuff. It's such a ridiculously fast car off-road. If not the quickest rally car in the game, it's certainly up there. I believe it is the quickest, around 280 miles an hour, which is ridiculous. So what you can do with this thing is just insane. You want the Porsche 918 hybrid hypercar engine swap, so no wonder it's so quick, over 1400 horsepower. Of course, we've left the four-wheel drive, or all-wheel drive in this case. You want your twin turbo, of course. Incidentally, if you want to get exactly what I've done here, you will need to follow the video version. I have, however, done a much, much older build, so instead of doubling up, if you want to download the older build, which is a little bit quicker for top-end speed, it's like 280, this is about 276, then of course you can use the code 898-992-970. If you use that code, then you'll get the faster version, but this version I would recommend as like the current one, in other words. So this is a little bit quicker for acceleration, a bit more honed in for off-roading and off-road put together. This car is, be warned, definitely a bit of a handful. It's not like the most forgiving thing around, but it is a beast, and I just wiped out so many 3-star accolades with this thing. It's ridiculously quick off-road. As far as the aero, I actually have opted to upgrade it, mostly just for the look, but it actually does give you quite a boost in points as well, and handling also. As far as the tyres, I've gone for the racing slicks. So, of course, kind of insane for an off-roader, but that's just how good this thing is off-road. You could go for the off-roads as well if you wanted to, then of course it will be even better on the dirt, but much like with the pickup earlier on, I wanted this to be the best of both worlds. So you've got the racing slicks for the on-road stuff, and then off-road, just the natural ability of the car with the ride height, the four-wheel drive, etc. Just, you know, overpowers any situation, basically. That's the way I would describe this car. It just overpowers everything in terms of physics or opponents or whatever. As far as the tyres, of course, you want the maximum width. I've gone for the lightweight rims. I personally really like the rims on this one. Whoops, I've accidentally removed the rims that I had on there. If I just move up through the menu again to show you which ones those were, they are these here, the Speedline F1s, great looking wheels, and they do happen to be, along with a few others, the lightest ones you can get. As far as the tyre width, or the wheel offset, I guess I should say, in terms of spacers, those are increased as well, of course. The power is easy. Literally just do everything. You should have 1,441 horses, so you don't need me to run through every single thing there. Likewise with the brakes, you want your racing brakes for the suspension. I mean, you could put it on drift brakes, or a drift suspension, I should say, if you want to. I wouldn't necessarily say you need it for this one. Of course, you want your weight loss as well. For the transmission, some people might disagree with this one, but I do have the 4-speed. At the end of the day, it's a hybrid 1,400 horsepower engine, so it doesn't exactly need a 10-speed box. You know, it's ridiculously quick. It does nearly 100 miles an hour in first gear and rips like a monster off the line, so you just don't need that many gears on this car. As far as the driveline, of course, that is upgraded, and for the diff, I have gone for the off-road. So, then if we jump into the tuning shop, we've got 33 and 34 on the PSI. Look down in the bottom left, you can see just how ridiculously quick this thing is. As far as the gearing, we've got 2.6, 2.9, 185, 135, and 1. For alignment, we've got a little bit of camber, 0.5, no toe on this one, 6.5 degrees of caster. So, to be honest, nothing too crazy there. Some people will definitely find this car too much of a handful. It's not necessarily the most beginner-friendly of cars, but it's challenging, not so much in like a TVR or a Cobra kind of way. It's more challenging because it's so quick. It's so overwhelmingly fast, especially in first gear, that it just slip slides around all over the place, even with four-wheel drive. So that takes a little bit of getting used to. Anti-roll, I basically haven't touched on this one. Springs are pretty low, and then for the ride height, I've actually set it low for this one. So a bit counterintuitive for off-roading, but I would say it's still pretty stable, even with that lower. As far as the dampers, those are, again, basically standard. I believe I had changed that, so I think it might have glitched back. 1.4 and 2. As far as the aero, of course, as low as possible. Braking isn't adjusted. And for the diff, it's a pretty hefty amount on this 100%. That won't be to everyone's taste, but give it a try and see what you think. And of course, we've changed the rear bias to 70% to loosen up the front end just a little bit. So, like I said, you can grab the version which I'd already done, which is a bit quicker than this. I don't recall what the handling was like. Or you could copy this version, which is not shared on the storefront, so you will need to copy the video if you want this exact version of it. So now, of course, we'll jump out onto the dirt, onto the road, onto basically everything that comes across this car's path to show you just what a monster this really is in a straight line. So, well, in fact, not just in a straight line, it's cornering, off-road, everything put together, as I said. So as far as this car goes, like I said, it won't be for everyone. It definitely isn't beginner-friendly, but it's one of those cars which, because you've got so many vehicles in the game, and so many Porsches, and of course, you know, as somebody who has a lot of love and respect for Porsche, a lot of their cars do kind of blend together when you have a load of them next to each other. This one does stand out more, but I feel like for some younger players you might overlook just how quick some of the classics can be, and this is one of the prime examples. This is a ridiculously fast car. There is almost nothing that can keep up with it off-road in terms of just how ridiculously fast it is. It really is insane. If you haven't tried it before, you're going to be shocked. It feels like taking a, I don't know, like a Hennessy Venom F5 and turning it into a Pikes Peak car, something like that. It's a monster of a machine, tremendously quick, and if you're having trouble with getting 3 stars on speed zones or, you know, speed traps or whatever, you'll take care of those real quick. The only problem that you might have is it's so quick for acceleration, you actually need to back off sometimes. So if you do decide to use it, I hope you have a lot of fun with it. Check out the one from earlier on today in D-Class instead for the quick little Ford truck, and of course stick around for more builds here on the channel if you prefer to do them yourself, or if you like to download them straight onto your car, then of course either use the code or check out my in-game storefront, if you will. There are plenty of other people already following there, and you can find all of my builds. That's it for this one. I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.